Uzi's a really interesting player because prior to this year, everyone always said he was the best player to never win anything.
In any game, there are names that transcend the titles, the highlights, the moments. Names that defied the odds and defined competition. Names that will never be forgotten.
Uzi is coming in from the backside. Surprise! Here comes the bait.
Uzi is the last man alive, but he's being chased down. Killer
Oh my God!
Flashes into the pit. How is he still alive?
Oh my God!
Uzi is doing it.
Uzi's name is already etched in the League of Legends history books. He was a mechanical genius in the game's early days and was the first player to make consecutive world finals. He was the poster child for his country's eSports scene, the face of China's belief that it could challenge Korea. But he represented something else too, a silver medal. For years, Uzi was known as perhaps the greatest player to never win a title, domestically or internationally. Today though, Uzi is the face of a new movement. China doesn't need to believe they can challenge Korea anymore. They've proven that they can. In 1 year, Uzi has tasted victory.
The curse lifted. The prophecy has been fulfilled. Uzi now reigns as king. Royal, never give up. Champions.
And he has slain giants.
And King's face is in tatters. For the first time ever, RNG is chasing success. Royal never give up, rule the world, winning MSI 2018.
He's been humbled too.
G2 have just dismantled RNG and they're gonna take their way to the semi-finals!
The G2 dynasty will be defined by taking down RNG.
6 years after his debut, Uzi is still the face of Chinese League of Legends. But he's also the face of a champion. This is his story. Jian Uzi Zihao made his competitive League of Legends debut in October 2012 with Royal Club and rose to prominence as a mechanically gifted 15-year-old. Heading into the 2013 LPL Spring Split, Royal weren't quite able to capitalize on the prowess of their prodigy in the bot lane. That split belonged to Oh My God, who hoisted the first trophy of the LPL era, while Royal finished in 5th. In 2013, the LPL Summer Playoffs came after the World Championship. So before Royal would get another shot at a domestic title, it was time to play for a place on the world stage. This time, they were able to defeat their domestic rivals, vanquishing OMG in the grand finals after a dramatic run through the losers bracket. It was enough to secure their spot into the world's quarterfinals as China's #1 seed. By this point, Royal had learned to harness Uzi's impressive potential in the bottom lane, so much so that their primary strategy at the time was dubbed raising the puppy.
You know, a lot of people may have heard about Uzi, and he's a lot like Faker. He's a very young prodigy and extremely fun to watch. And the whole strategy of Royal is built around what they call raising the puppy. It's a lot like protecting the double lift, except more effective. Except more effective, yeah. And so he's known as the puppy in China because of his youth.
Royal were far from the first team to consider playing around a strong bottom lane carry, but Uzi was good enough to make it work. So heading into a fated quarterfinal against an OMG roster that had terrorized the group stage, even taking a game off of Korean powerhouse SK Telecom T1, all eyes were on Uzi to be the difference.
Oh, lovely. Naturally going very deep. Cool going to go over towards Sammy. There's a stun. Unites have been used very early. Uzi is coming in from the backside. Surprise! Here comes the Vayne. Kill for White. Sun's not going to escape this one. They focus down Uzi, but look at him. He's still alive. He's still surviving. He stays alive. Ace for Royal Club. What an amazing fight coming out of Uzi. This is going to be a win for Royal Club. They are going to take down their Chinese rivals 2-0. Amazing performance to Zed. The Vayne, too much for them to handle this time around, and you can see exactly what it means to Royal Club.
Their semi-final match would be against a Fnatic squad who looked impressive in the tournament. But despite any advantages that Fnatic appeared to have on paper, Royal were too much for the European squad.
He's really got no
managed to deal with this one. The etched strikes not there.
Crazy.
And they just feed another kill to Uzi. So it's still not letting there. And Peke will be up in 1 second time, but it is Uzi cleaning up right now.
You see White on the board twice there, a kill and a death. Uzi comes up big. Royal is going to be walking their way into the base on this one. They have inhibitors in their eyes. They're going to have Nexus turrets in their eyes.
Boom! Headshot goes down. Uzi is alive. Uzi is doing damage. It's Royal Club going through to the grand final against SK Telecom T1.
Royal were one series away from the Summoners Cup. And for a 16-year-old Uzi, it was his chance to prove himself against another young prodigy named Faker. Royal's impressive performance at Worlds were enough to make many analysts into believers.
SK Telecom T1 or Royal Club?
Royal all the way.
All right, double lift. I know you want to be on the Korean hype train. Let's go.
Follow
All
you,
about
coach.
SK
I'm thinking about
Telecom.
it. Thanks, coach. No thanks. I'm going with Royal. My brain says SKT, but I got that Chinese pride. I'm friends with Tabe. Royal's gonna win.
I'm gonna have to go ahead and choose Royal as well. I like the underdogs here. I feel like they're gonna complete their raise the puppy strategy and derail this hype train.
But they were no match for SK Telecom T1K. Faker and his surging roster would bring home Korea's first world championship, while Uzi and China's hopes were sidelined.
SK Telecom are just rolling through. The Nexus turrets are potentially going to go down. This could be a 20-minute game for SK Telecom. They will be the Season 3 World Champions.
Royal's season shouldn't have been over. They still had a spot in the LPL playoffs waiting for them at home. They had to forfeit both the semifinals and the third place match after Whites and Tabe both retired, leaving the org without a roster. Still, it was a promising first year for a young Uzi. He'd put up strong domestic showings, cemented his place among the very top of the game's greatest mechanical talents, and placed second at the World Championship. He couldn't have known that this would be the start of a pattern. Royal made big changes in 2014, rebranding to Starhorn Royal Club and rebuilding their roster around the star player that had been at the center of so much of their success so far. Uzi was the only player to come back to the team in 2014, but even more surprising was his decision to move from bottom lane to mid. And as the team struggled to a disappointing 6th place in the spring regular season, Royal shuffled its roster once again. This time, they brought in Korean imports Zero and the legendary Insec, allowing Uzi to return to his rightful place in the bottom lane. This roster worked far better for the team, and they placed 3rd in the regular season. That was enough for them to make it to the regional finals, where they did manage to overcome OMG and qualify as China's 2nd seed through the winner's side of the bracket. It was another chance for Royal on the world stage. Another chance to prove that China was more than second fiddle in the international league scene. Another chance for Uzi to show off.
So, whoa, Candy Panda going down, he's got him! Uzi straight up taking him down, and then Ready now in trouble. One more hit should do it. Uzi gonna go down in the process. No, the shield!
Well, Insect is actually really low. Flashing from Dyrus going for the kill. Uzi 2-0! And Dyrus goes down. Insect still alive. Uzi looking for more kills. Exhaust will stop that from happening. Zero's there! He knocks him away!
No way!
2 comes in. Exhaust is down. Amazing will fall. And that was just simply amazing. Korn coming in there. Death mark from Bjergsen going towards Korn. Not sure that's got the damage. Bjergsen walks away, but they lose Wild Turtle. They lose Amazing. They're going to lose Lost Boy as well.
This could be the game.
3 kills. They might finish up. Uzi goes in for another one. That's another ace here for Royal Club, and surely the game.
After making short work of their group stage, Royal's quarterfinals opponents were domestic rivals Edward Gaming. They started off strong.
They're going to want this fight. Back and forth. Koro falls down. Not even using intervention in that fight. It's going to be FCZF now getting hit up. That's another kill for Korn. Uzi takes the safety off, and he drops FCZF in the bottom lane. Name's forced to run. It looks like they want the whole thing. The bubble hits, and he's in trouble. It's going to be the chase. No, they're going to stop. Good dissonance, but very low mana. Korn and Uzi are actually still trying to taste this. That means Uzi gets caught. He tries to jump in for the kill. That's not going to be what he wanted. More kills coming up for Uzi. Picks that up onto Koro. That no dissonance to follow, but they are going to be able to lock down the quad
Monster kill for Uzi.
But EDG rallied, brought it to game 4, and eventually to a pivotal 5th game. Uzi was still a young player. He might have built up a respectable amount of domestic experience. He might have played in a World Finals, but in many ways, he still lacked experience. And as EDG began to mount a shocking comeback, Uzi's mentality began to decline.
Uzi's devastated.
Can history repeat itself for Uzi? There's so much pressure on him.
因为当时前面输掉比赛以后，就让我心态就没有那么好，然后就躺在那里想了很久。
자기가 빨리 수습하길 빌어야지. 제가 뭐 관리한다고 해서 멘탈이 회복되는 게 아니기 때문에 그냥 멘탈이 회복되길 빌었어요.
As the primary carry for his team, there was a lot of pressure on Uzi to perform. And even with a couple years of pro experience under his belt, Uzi was still a 17-year-old kid. But feeling the match slipping away, Uzi's team rallied behind him.
Is this the turnaround that they're looking for? Korn still trying. There's the shot from Uzi. He's going for Koro. Blows him away. Gets the kill. Gets the reset. Uzi, is he going to do? He stays alive here. And now they're going to keep going to Uzi.
So far as time alone playing in his favor. One more shot and Uzi picks up 3.
Stun to Uzi. Quicksilver sack.
That could
kill
be it.
for Uzi. Nami going to be locked up. Nami goes down. And he's all down on Koro. They dive on him. Triple kill for Uzi. It's Royal Club that do it the hard way will go through to the semi-finals.
Uzi's semi-final opponents, another Chinese team in OMG, were likewise a major roadblock. But in the end, Royal made it to the finals. But in front of a boisterous home crowd, it was Korea's Samsung White and not Royal that etched their names into league history.
What a sight! Just what an extraordinary world championship Samsung White has had. For Royal Club, they get their first single victory in a world championship final, but it's not enough to take down the monsters that are Samsung White.
It was another year that saw Uzi distinguish himself against a host of international and domestic opponents. Another year where he came up short. It was time for something new. In December, rival Chinese team OMG acquired Uzi in what is probably the biggest roster move the LPL has ever seen. It was a new team and a new infrastructure for Uzi, who had never played for an org other than Royal, and the team had some initial trouble meshing.
然后就来到 OMG 这边以后，可能因为就他们这边的战术，然后体系可能更多，然后需要我去慢慢适应。但是就因为我刚过来，就慢慢的融入不到一起，然后就因为很多的战术不一样，然后去争吵吧。
The raw star power on this new team was enough for them to have a reasonable regular season in spring 2015. But a disappointing exit in playoff quarterfinals was far less than many fans expected of the region's top ADC.
And LGD, they're not stopping. They're looking to try and end the game. They're trying to end the series, Atlas. They go in. They're looking for it. Cools gets destroyed. That is ridiculous. Godby so good on this Cassid, and Hecarim does take down Flame. But these Nexus turrets now falling down. Imp doing so much damage. OMG get aced and lose the game instantly. 29 minutes. LGD, this is the quickest one yet. 3-0 to OMG.
Absolutely speechless because OMG are a world-class lineup, but they were outclassed in most positions the entirety of that series.
Things didn't get much better in the summer split. As OMG headed toward a 7th place finish in the regular season, Uzi found himself once again struggling to constructively handle his frustrations.
我觉得他很少就是去表达说他有多大的压力，但是他因为对自己本身自身要求很高，他希望自己都每一场能够发挥得很完美。
我觉得他的压力的话，就应该是属于来自他个人。 因为他的终极目标就是世界冠军。
And this time, there would be no world's birth, no big stage, no chance at redemption. At the end of 2015, Uzi's place in the League of Legends landscape was still somewhat uncertain. He'd cemented himself as one of the biggest stars in the most populous region for the game, and it was impossible to deny his skills. But 3 years into his career, Uzi had yet to win a title at any level. He was a king without a crown.
曾经就是跟我，基本上是哭着跟我说的。他说：“我的梦想就是世界冠军。”
对我来说，就是已经算是一个成就了，人生成就了吧。打游戏可以打到这么好。
我相信儿子迟早会实现他的梦想。
In December, Uzi made another move, joining the Xiaogu Reapers, and the beginning of the spring split looked good for his new team.
Gonna try and turn things around. The base is just breaking in every spot, and Uzi is free firing away from the sidelines. They might even dive the fountain to finish things off, and QG, one team fight later, they'll break the base and go undefeated.
But this is all over. Xiaogu are in the base of IG, and although they split up the team, they're going to be able to take them down one by one. They get the ace, and Xiaogu look to destroy the Nexus and get the reverse sweep against Invictus Gaming.
OMG looked strong for the start of the series.
Uzi ruins his glorious KDA to dive the fountain and get the last kill.
But it was worth it. He dives the fountain and sends a message that Uzi is back here on Xiaogu.
And despite some challenges in the latter half of the split, Xiaogu's dominant start was enough for first in their group and a bye to playoff semifinals. But their playoff run did not go well. Xiaogu's roster was grappling with personnel issues, and in a somewhat shocking example of them, they went into semifinals without a mid laner, despite having 4 signed to the org.
We're going to have to see what happens here, but unfortunately, that is a surprise. We just got an announcement.
Wow.
Unfortunately, Xiaogu's mid laner cannot be here for today's match, so they're going to have to forfeit this best of 5 series. That is a big surprise coming from the lineup. EDG win this match 3-0.
Though they were able to field a mid laner in the 3rd place match, World Elite swept Xiaogu 3-0, putting an end to their season. Uzi had played with some incredible players since he'd left Royal, but he'd been unable to find much success. It was time for the stray dog to come home. Back on RNG, Uzi was home, and the new roster rampaged through the summer split, landing them directly in semifinals. There, they defeated iMei in a close 3-2 series. It was another chance at the finals, another hope for a title. But RNG weren't up for the task, and EDG trounced them.
One by one, they take down Lupus Guardian Angel. LSG's is down as well. Uzi's locked down. He's getting destroyed. Bernal picks up the kill. And RNG, they're going to get aced here by EDG.
And that's it. EDG will reclaim their throne as the premier team in the LPL. And again, Uzi is denied another LPL title.
It was another split without a domestic title, but Royal's performance throughout 2016 qualified them for Worlds on championship points. In the end, Royal made it out of groups, but their run at Worlds was cut short yet again.
Wolf and Duke coming up from the river. Uzi cancelled his recall. Flash is available. Let's see if we can get away. The answer does not seem to be so. Uzi goes first. Mata follows shortly.
And that is where everything falls apart for RNG.
Back to mid lane. Xiaohu's kill. Not done yet. Bang's looking for Uzi. The tower, the laser. Bang gets the kill. And Bang gets out alive. This is going to get messy. Duke's got 1, 2. Looking for a 3rd. Not going to be enough because Faker's got himself a double. Mata throws up the RNG flag, but it's a dying flag. Royal or ace. The Nexus is down. The turret will fall out shortly. SK Telecom advance to the semi-final at Worlds.
It was the second time SKT had eliminated Royal from Worlds, and though this time it was 3-1, Royal were outclassed. In 2017, it seemed like Royal was doomed to repeat the same storylines. They placed first in the regular season in both spring and summer, but lost in the finals both times. And Worlds that year was more of the same. Once again, Royal made it out of groups, and their quarterfinal performance against Fnatic was likewise compelling. And heading into their semifinal match against, once again, SKT, there was hope for Royal fans. SKT were not playing the way they had in years past, and it looked like they had weaknesses Royal might be able to expose. The series was close.
The ulti's still not there for Uzi. Going in for the smite. It's going to be picked up by the left team. Picking them all up now. The fight to begin. Look for the kills. One already got his bang. Has lost his life. The flash forward for Uzi. Doing it the best he can. Another passive got his finger. Now isolated, suppressed. And there's the Malzahar damage we needed. 3 kills already for the Chinese squad. Looking for a 4th as the slow lands a perfect raid with Let Me. And Uzi is here. And the Wolf is going to be falling. Uzi gets himself another 6 kills in the game. Mid lane under fire.
But Royal still couldn't overcome SKT. The 2018 spring regular season looked strong for Royal Never Give Up. But heading into playoffs, all eyes in the region were on the team that placed first in their group. Invictus Gaming dominated the regular season with an 18-1 record and fielded a rising talent named The Shy, who is being widely heralded as perhaps the best top laner in the world. With IG seeded directly into the semifinals and RNG working their way through the bracket, the thought of an RNG versus IG semifinal was tantalizing. But it didn't quite happen that way. IG and RNG faced off, but The Shy's dynamic carry potential was not a factor as he was sidelined in playoffs by an injury. Royal took that series 3-2, and with perhaps their greatest obstacle out of the way, momentum was on their side heading into the grand finals. Momentum that Uzi and his teammates would not put to waste.
Ray has assassinated me. Still looking to threaten this one. To time force the flash away. Uzi's going big. The Mad Dog is barking. Gets a kill for himself. Ray the assassin. All of Maker's crown controls. And they turn onto Morgana. Tatai is here. Ray's joined the fight as well. But it's EDG that retreat because Lightning is being slammed down from the Ragnarok of Ola. Speed himself up. Gets Stand United in as RNG collapsing towards the pit. It could be a 50-50. On comes out Clearlock. He's almost dead in the back lines. Baron has a beat hit. RNG find the team fight. Uzi's still alive. And Malaselqua, he sliced the Baron. He takes the away from EDG.
Horn is out.
Let Me wants it now. Nocturne's going in and the AD carry is dead. Chasing the back lines. Scout using the stasis, but he's going to go down as well. Uzi picks up a double and there's only 1 member left and it's Ray.
All they need to do now is dot the I's, cross the T's. RNG, they have set themselves up to win.
Where were you when history was made? Because here comes Uzi.
The curse lifted. The prophecy has been fulfilled. Uzi now reigns as king. Royal never give up. Champions. And they will take on the world at MSI.
Finally, for the first time ever, the LPL's greatest AD carry hoisted a trophy. For the first time ever, Uzi was a champion.
Uzi's a really interesting player because prior to this year, everyone always said he was the best player to never win anything.
It used to be before that Uzi was kind of this mad dog on a leash and his team just kind of held the leash back. This time around, he's more of the leading sled dog, charging forward to victory and really paving the path for RNG.
With his first domestic title under his belt, Uzi made his way to MSI for the first time in his career. Hopes were high for the LPL superstars, but they would have to contend with a Kingzone Dragon X that had looked utterly dominant in the spring split. But in groups, Kingzone seemed less than untouchable. They finished in third, while Royal and the Flash Wolves topped the leaderboard. Korea rebounded at the semis though, as both Kingzone and Royal made quick work of their semifinal opponents. And so, it all came down to the finals.
Hello and welcome to the conclusion of MSI 2018, as RNG ready to reclaim the MSI Championship trophy for the LPL as they look to take down Korea's Kingzone Dragon X.
Ladies and gentlemen, in Paris and around the world, let's kick off the fight for the championship and the title.
Royal got ahead despite Kingzone's explosive power as a team, but heading into a do-or-die Game 4, the Koreans drafted a composition with terrifying teamfight combo potential.
3 item spikes, by the way, inside of RNG. Infinity Edge and Void Staff with Xiaohu and Uzi. It's already secured. King Zone, can they win the fight? Nethergloss buys some time, finally gets but it's a reply kill. Passes the first. Look at the feathers, they fly, they're pulled back. And Uzi trying to do something. He's taken out. It's a double kill and King Zone get more.
One misstep away from a Game 5, Uzi knew what he had to do. And he made magic happen.
打团一起往前冲一点，不然他们后排伤害太高了。我直接冲他们后排的要。干嘛？对，我要直接冲他们后排，不然我们赢不了他。
RNG inside the Baron pit. Super Minion down to the belt. But look at the fight. That's already a kill. Carter is gone. Kingzone lose Gorilla. And it's Uzi that picks him up. The feathers are going back and forth. The Xiao who dies. Uzi is the last man alive. But he's being chased down. Killer Instinct flashes into the pit. How is he still alive? Uzi is doing it. Uzi keeps RNG alive.
And it didn't end there.
还没有水银呢，还没有水银，还差10秒。哎，中路我们要看一波。对，我觉得有机会，绝对有机会。
Around for a short amount of time. Xiaohu is on his way for him.
Oh, that's straight onto play. All of the Forge God comes out as well as Killer Instinct. Royal never give up on doing it. 来打，来打！可以吗？可以吗？我觉得可以，我觉得可以，来打打！ They'll be able to save him, and Kingzone's face is in tatters. For the first time ever, RNG's chasing success. Royal never give up, rule the world, winning MSI 2018.
Uzi had done it. Kingzone did what so many teams had done before. They drafted CC and team fighting to burst Uzi down, to negate Royal's lethal carry. But it didn't matter. With his back against the wall, with match point in his hands, Uzi brought it home. He put the team on his back, and he conquered.
It is beautiful to behold the happiness as the crownless king now rules the world.
The summer split was another split of domestic success for Royal Never Give Up. This time, the fated rematch against Invictus Gaming came in the grand finals.
Long may they reign! Royal Never Give Up are your 2018 LPL champions!
And so, in a year that also saw Royal take wins at the Asia Games and at Rift Rivals, Uzi entered the 2018 World Championship in an unusual position. Uzi's star, already burning so brightly in Chinese League, had only risen in 2018. Riot had commemorated him in their music video for Worlds, and even Nike had recognized him as the face of Chinese gaming.
This has been the year of RNG, right? They've been title after title after title, and their next stop, is the World Championship. But they're going to have to go through the defending champions in the group stage, if they want to get that #1 seed and have a better spot.
RNG, many people's favorites for the World Championship, I think along with KT. And then you look at every single Pool 2 team that could possibly be with RNG, you would have to say Gen G or Freak of Freaks are the hardest one.
But in 2018, Worlds was different. It had been a year of subverted expectations. Though Uzi was never really in danger of not making it out of groups, their path out as the first seed came down to a white-knuckle tiebreaker against a surging Cloud9.
They fought tooth and nail. Royal are battered and bruised, but they will come out of the group of death as the first seed. They will shatter Cloud9's base. They will await their quarterfinal opponents, and it is up to Zeyzal to defend against the army, and it will not happen. RNG will make it true, and they will take the seed.
Royal's quarterfinal opponents were G2 eSports, but Royal's victory felt inevitable. It seemed a foregone conclusion that Royal would face off against KT in the semifinals, the tournament's two favorites clashing for a spot in the finals. But things did not work out that way.
In 5 games, this might just be Yankos coming in. Let's see whether or not they can find the kill. There's the stun onto Uzi. Body blocking. He can't get the warn. Uzi can't pick it up. He's going to go down. Kyonin kills Uzi. He's turning it back around. Defensive flash from Uzi. Teleport's coming down.
Comes
Perks. Not to find out. Perks blows up RNG. There's the engage. Death sentence onto the cannon creep delivers a perfect play. GA.
Uzi's down.
But with Uzi down, it's all on Xiaohu. Xiaohu's running for the Perks. Perks has found him. Perks goes golden with the hourglass. They may have just done it.
G2 have just dismantled RNG and they're gonna take their way to the semi-final!
When expectations were at their lowest, the G2 dynasty will be defined by taking down RNG!
Uzi had been chasing a world title since that first time he sat across from SK Telecom T1. Since that first time it slipped through his fingers. And this year, in Korea, it seemed like his year, like his chance to seize his destiny. Instead, a different LPL team hoisted the Summoners Cup. It was a disappointing loss for RNG and for Uzi. But 2018 isn't like 2013 or 2014. It's not like the years Uzi struggled to find domestic success, to trust his teammates, to take home championships. Because this year, Uzi returned to China a winner. Sure, he went home from Worlds battered, but you can't take the rest of 2018 away from him. Uzi has faced all the highs and lows competitive league has to offer. He's seen the biggest stages, heard the roar of the loudest crowds. He's been the playmaker.
你们尽量打团一起往前冲一点，不然他们后排伤害太高了。我直接冲他们后排的要。干嘛？对，我要直接冲他们后排，不然我们赢不了团的。
And the troublemaker. But through it all, he's grown into something far greater than the kid with incredible Vayne mechanics who first dazzled the world. And when the book closes on his career, he won't be remembered as the greatest player to never win a title. But he may just be remembered as the greatest player, period.
Thanks for watching. If you want more great content just like this, be sure to hit the subscribe button.